Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Cross Canada C4FM net. We are a weekly net. We meet every Wednesday evening at this time, 2100 Eastern or 100 UTC. The net is a result of a roundtable conversation between three hands, one in BC, one in Ontario, and one in New Brunswick, who want to bring Canadians together from coast to coast and those abroad so that we could create some new friendships, share some ideas and some technical information. My name is Dennis. My call sign is Victor Echo 3 Bravo Foxtrot. I'm located in the city of Ottawa, Ontario, and I will be your net control station for this evening. This net is conducted in digital and analog modes through the WiresX network, hosted by various repeaters and nodes in room 40678, giving licensed amateurs from across Canada and around the world a chance to participate. This is a directed net, and although tonight we're going to be doing things a little bit differently, I ask that if there's any questions or comments that you please direct them through me. Before taking any regular check-ins, I've already got 17 people here that have, 18 actually, that have heard in a little bit earlier as we were chatting. But right now I will call for any stations that are mobile, portable, or cannot stay for the entire net. Any of the stations that have not tried to check in yet that are mobile or portable or cannot stay through the net, please call in now.
N1CDN, West Central Florida.
Oh, I'm really glad that everybody can stay through the net. Steve, I already had you on the list, but that's okay. So I recognize, the net recognizes right now VE3 Papa Delta Richard in Ottawa, VE3 IGN Don in Ottawa, VE9 CAS Jason in Sussex, New Brunswick, VE3 LC Norm in Ottawa, VE1 LV Hal in Truro, Nova Scotia, Steve N1CDN in Seminole, Florida, VA3 JPX James in Ottawa, VE3 November Alpha Barry in Ottawa, VA3 JPG JP in Ottawa, Alpha Bravo 8 Tango or Delta Tango Ron. I'm sorry, I don't know your city. I've got Victor Echo 6 Charlie Victor, Victor Echo 7 Charlie Victor, Victor Echo 7 Tango Oscar Mike, that's Tom. Victor Echo 7 Echo Zulu India. Victor Alpha 3 KX John in Marathon. Victor Echo 3 Zulu Uniform David in Ottawa. U8 DM Dan in Luckton, Pennsylvania. Whiskey 8 Delta Mike India. And I've got Woody in Northern Ontario, Victor Echo 3, Juliet Alpha. So right now I'll ask for check-ins, and I'm going to go by zones here, so please wait for your zone to be called. I'm going to start with Eastern Canada, the Atlantic provinces. Anyone in the Atlantic provinces that has not yet been on the list, please call now.
Victor Echo 9 or Tango.
Victor Alpha 1, Victor Charlie.
Victor Echo 1, Charlie Hotel, leave.
Echo 1, Bravo.
Victor Echo 1, Zulu X-ray.
Victor Echo 1, Bravo.
All right, let's hold it there. Let's see here. I got the very first station was in Bathurst. I think it was Gaetan, but I don't remember the call. The Victor Echo 9 station in Bathurst, New Brunswick. Come again.
Yeah, this is Victor Echo 9er, Tango Echo Kilo, Gaston. I wish you a good night, 72 to all. Back to you next.
Thank you very much, Gaston. Victor Echo 9, Tango Echo Kilo, Kilo. Victor Alpha 1, Victor Charlie Don, good evening. VE1 CHL, Scott, good evening. VE1 Bravo, good evening. Victor Echo 1, Zulu X-ray. Anyone else in the Atlantic provinces?
VE1 Zulu Charlie.
VE1 Zulu Charlie. Very good evening to you, Ron. Thanks for joining us. All right, let's take just a few more check-ins here. Let's call in the province of Quebec. Anyone in Quebec this evening? Okay, nothing heard from Quebec. Let's see. Eastern Ontario, please. Come now.
Victor Echo 3, Lima Bravo Uniform.
E3, Tango X-ray Bravo.
All right, I got VE3LBU, and I got good evening, Ron, and I got Tim, VE3TXB. Anyone else in Eastern Ontario?
Victor Echo 3, Kilo Alpha Echo.
Victor Echo 3, Echo Kilo November.
All right, good evening, Alan, VE3KAE, and good evening to Ken, VE3EKN. All right, we'll hold off on any further check-ins here for the moment. And I'm going to say good evening and welcome aboard to everyone in the room. First off, I guess I should announce that this room does have a Facebook page that's affiliated with it. And it's easily found by going to Facebook in the search bar and just type in C4FM Canada or Weekly Net C4FM, and we'll pop up there. And the only question we ask before you can become a member is to give us your call sign. And we try to keep it to amateurs only. And if you don't have a call sign and you're an aspiring amateur, drop us a note and we will bring you into the room as well. So this evening is a special net. As I mentioned, we normally have a round table format, but this evening we have a special guest with us. And I think everyone knows who that is, but John was already on board, so I know he's here. John Kruk, I'd like to introduce. He is November 9 United Papa Charlie. And John works for a company that we're all kind of fond of because we're all talking here, and that is Yaesu. And he's going to ask or answer a couple of questions for us. So, John, did you have any opening comments? Anything you'd like to say? Please come now.
Well, first of all, good evening to everyone on the net, and once again, thank you for letting me come on to the net here. I do appreciate it. I have been on a few other nets here, but I think it's kind of nice that I can actually get out and actually talk and answer the questions one-on-one as compared to try and answer them on Facebook or the Yahoo groups or any other means on there. I'd also like to say I'm glad to hear that you guys do have this net across Canada, and I'm also very happy to hear that you guys are actually... Well, I do apologize about that. Am I still in there?
Yeah, you dropped out about midway there, but we got up to we got that you appreciate being able to answer questions, and that you appreciate the fact that we have a cross Canada net, and then we lost you.
Gotcha. My internet decided to want to try to not work here for a minute, but no, I did want to say that I'm glad to see that this net is actually in analog and digital, which is one of the core concepts of Fusion, to be able to bridge the two together and make analog users be able to communicate with digital users. So I'm glad and happy to see that this net has that. But otherwise than that, I'll throw it back over to you, Net Control, and fire whatever.
All right, very good. Well, we're gonna fire a question right off to you here, and then we'll take a few more check-ins, and then we'll. I've already got an email here with a question coming up as well. So we'll get to that one. I haven't even read the email yet. So I'm going to call Norm, VE3LC. Norm is in Ottawa, in the east end of Ottawa, and he is the president of the Ottawa Valley Mobile Radio Club. And he'd like to ask you a question. So I will throw the mic over to Norm, VE3LC, VE3BF with the net.
Yeah, thanks, Dennis, and good evening to John, V3LC here. His name is Norm. And, I have a few questions, actually, but I'll lead off with one question. On the WiresX node box, of course, it operates with software on a Windows OS platform. And we're wondering, actually, we would like if Yaesu could also offer that application to operate on both a Linux, let's say a Ubuntu Linux platform, and also as an option on an Apple OS platform. Is that possible? I'm sure it's possible, but is that possibly in the works with Yaesu? Can you answer that question, John? Go ahead.
So we actually get that question asked a lot, and the first thing that it actually deals off with as part of it is because WiresX, the software and the communication aspect, uses the .NET framework of Microsoft. So lots of times that's a real difficult aspect of running it on different platforms. We've had people that have tried running it on, I believe it's called Windows or Wine or something like that on the Linux stuff, and they've never been able to successfully get it working, once again because it lacks the .NET framework. Another reason is that the way that WiresX was designed for it, the server, is a Windows-based type server. Does that mean that in the future we may try to incorporate Apple products, Linux products? Could be. As of right now, no, it's not. I'll kind of also give another answer. A lot of people say, well, can you release the API so people can work on it? And no, we will not release the API for our WiresX software and server, and that deals with the security issues and the integrity of the system being the way that it is. Go ahead, back to you.
Okay, thanks for that answer, V3LC here. I have another question, or shall we say a desire. The WiresX box, of course, requires a radio to work with. This causes a few problems. I know Denis is having this problem. He is the node here that I'm operating through, but it's operating through V3TWO, this repeater. Now, for him to access that the net, if you will, he has another or a client radio. I believe he's using a 3200. So he's talking through the repeater, which is across town, which is looping back again into his node radio, into his WiresX box. There becomes an issue there with a requirement for isolation of antennas. The isolation of those antennas is a little difficult because otherwise, of course, there's going to be desensitization one radio to the other. A solution that I would have in the design is that there actually be a vocoder in the WiresX box in a talk and listen facility that would allow, for instance, you to access the network, the WiresX network through the node box, but without necessarily a radio. But a radio, when coupled in, then the sysop, the node operator, could also be conferenced into the let's say net that we're taking place tonight. Is that has that question or that feature been asked before, and is it anything that is on the horizon with Yaesu? Go ahead, John. V3LC, Norm here.
N9UPC here. That's a good question, Norm. We do get asked that a lot. I guess I'll give you the short answer. The HRI 200 is basically an external sound card converter. Is basically for what it is. Basically converts the WiresX data from the program into either obviously analog to run on any analog radio. It doesn't have to be a Yaesu radio, or to run the fusion capability, which would obviously need an FTM 100. Sorry about that, I got bumped again. The long answer of it all comes down to the how WiresX was designed and the purpose of WiresX. WiresX was actually designed as a means of communication actually in Japan. In Japan, there are no fusion repeaters, and as a matter of fact, the JARL makes it illegal to put a fusion repeater on the air. So with that, it was designed to be a node concept where instead of having a repeater, obviously a DR1XFR or a DR2X, users could set up a node. And by setting up these nodes, they can either go simplex or they can link into a room or link together and have an uplink or a downlink frequency. All I can say is 2018 is going to be an interesting year. And that's about all I can go ahead and say on that matter. Go ahead, back to you.
Okay, we'll await with great anticipation then for any news that comes out in that regard. And there is one other question I have. The program the trade-in program, if you will, for the DR1X, for the DR2X, is scheduled to end June 30th. Any chance of extension? And that'll conclude my questions. Thanks, John, V3LC.
When we come to the end of a cycle for our exchange program or repeater promotional program, we take a look at how things were, and I can't say that we will extend it, and I cannot say that we will or we will not. I don't know 100% yet. I can tell you this: when we come up with this repeater promotion, we did it because we understand that there are clubs that want to experience digital. Fusion is by far the easiest and quickest form of digital to get on. And with that, we wanted to be able to bring that infrastructure of repeaters to you. One of the things with the program is that we ask that you keep the repeater on the air, keep it for 1 year. We ask that you keep it in an AMS mode or a digital-only mode, and that we ask that you make sure you don't sell or get rid of the equipment for that 1 year time frame. Well, unfortunately, we've had some people who have violated the program this year. When we find out, we do kind of contact you and reach out. Let me reset. These kind of things factor into it. So with that, I'm not sure if we are going to extend it once again or not, but it all kind of plays into the data that we collected on there. We have extended it in the past. I will tell you, last September the program was supposed to end. However, in the United States, we had a lot of people affected by the hurricanes and the flooding in Texas and Florida. I had some people that wrote me letters. I still can think of 2 letters to this day that I read that I almost actually cried. I can't even put words to it, how the damage and the destruction that they had. And they said, I was going to buy a new repeater, but that money for the repeater, that it needs to go into my house. It needs to go to rebuild what I had for my life. So we extended it then. We did review it at the beginning of the year. As a matter of fact, it ended, and it was about a week later we decided to extend it again. So I can't say yes and I can't say no, but we will make the announcement once we have made a decision.
Thanks for the answer, John. Over to you there, Dennis. Go ahead.
All right, very good, Norm. Thank you very much for your questions. And John, thank you. That was very informative. And it sure is nice to hear things straight as opposed to reading a rumor. So, all right. I also would like to recognize here at Checkin. I got my email. Actually, I spoke to the gentleman earlier, but I forgot to acknowledge him. And I've added you to the questions list there, Ron, Alpha Bravo 8 Delta Tango. So thank you for being here with us, and I've got you in there. For our friends in the U.S., I will break the U.S. down into 4 quadrants and start calling you in very, very shortly. So right now I would like to call in the GTA and Western Ontario. GTA and Western Ontario for check-ins, please call now.
Victor Echo 3, Juliet Tango Delta.
Victor Echo 3, Bravo Victor Charlie.
Okay, VE3 JTD, VE3 BVC, good evening. Bill JTD, I'm sorry I don't know your name, but good evening and welcome. Let me see here. Anyone else in Ontario, Northern Ontario, Eastern Ontario that didn't get a check-in? I'm sure there must be some people in the Peterborough area. Anyone in Ontario, please come now.
VA3 EXT, Victor Alpha 3 Tango, November, Tim in Windsor.
All right, very good evening to Scott and VA3 EXT and VA3 TGN. Tim, good evening in Windsor. Let's go a little bit further west. Let's go to Manitoba or Saskatchewan. Anyone in Manitoba or Saskatchewan tonight wishing to check in, please call now. Nothing heard, unfortunately. It's too bad that Saskatoon couldn't join us this evening. Let's see here. Alberta, I know there's a couple of VE6s out there.
Victor Echo 6, Hotel Golf, Chris, located in Cochrane.
All right, very good evening, Chris, in Cochrane, Victor Echo 6 HG. Welcome to the room, sir. I was expecting a few more VE6s, but let's go to the final section of West, and then we'll start calling in the U.S. after another couple of questions. Anyone in BC wishing to check in? British Columbia, please come now.
V7 LTW.
E7 Victor Golf, that's good.
Victor Echo 7, India Golf Bravo.
Victor Echo 7, Whiskey Bravo Mike.
Victor Echo 7, Echo Zulu India.
All right, let's hold it there, and we'll do another sweep across the country in smaller or larger blocks afterwards to give everybody a chance. But good evening to VE7 LTW, VE7, was it Victor Golf Oscar?
Roger, Victor Golf Oscar, Kamloops.
Thank you very much, Kamloops, and welcome aboard, sir. VE7 AM, good evening, Mike. VE7 EGB, VE7 Whiskey Bravo Mike, and the last one was Victor Echo 7 Echo Zulu India. Did I miss anybody?
Victor Echo 7, Lima, Echo Echo.
And I've got Ted, VE7 Lima Echo Echo. I assume Ted's on the deck of a ship somewhere out in the Vancouver harbor there. So good evening, Ted, and welcome aboard, sir. Let me see here. I did hear Scott in there. Victor Alpha 3 Echo X-Ray Tango. And Scott, you have a question for John. Did you want to go ahead and ask your question, sir? Scott, VA3EXT, you were having a little trouble before there. Are you still around? Are you still with us?
Since I don't answer anything I could think of. Thanks, Dennis.
Oh, okay. I had you on a list of questions there regarding a multi-mode or multi-band rig. Did you want to go ahead with that? Okay, Scott may be mobile on the edge there, John. So we'll ask Brad, Victor Echo 1 Zulu X-ray, Brad in Parsboro, Nova Scotia. Did you want to go ahead with your question, Brad?
Yeah, very good evening, John. November 9 Uniform Papa Charlie. This is VE1 Zulu X-ray, Brad in Parsboro here. My question is, I'm thinking about upgrading my two DR1X repeaters, and was wondering if there are any new repeaters in the near future, like the DR-3X, or updates to the DR2X. Over.
Well, there's no repeaters planned for coming out. The DR2X is the main repeater, and that is the one that's currently in production. Obviously the DR1X has been discontinued, but we do have some factory refurbishes that we're looking on. I guess my answer would also include a question as to, are you looking for a certain feature, or is there something that...
November 9, Uniform Papa Charlie, you dropped out again there, John, but no special repeat, no special on the DRX 1X there, John. But I was just wondering if if there's any new repeaters in the near future there before I upgrade here. Thanks for your answer there. And my other question was the exchange period, but we already got that June the 30th there. Thanks for answering that for me, John. VE1 Zulu X-ray.
All right, John. I see you're back. Everything okay there?
Yes, just the Charter Spectrum Internet here at the Fortress of Solitude. But if he, I did ask, and I don't know if it went out there. Was he referring to or needing a specific feature that they were saying or asking about, or just in a general curiosity?
Go ahead there, Brad.
Okay, Dennis. Some of the features would be some of the voice, like a voice recording on the repeater itself. I know there is a voice chip you can put on them, but maybe a macro or a few macros in there to put some announcements and stuff on there. Over.
Okay, Brad. Yeah, and we looked at that actually when the DR2 was first being designed, and it sounds kind of weird, but just the way that everything is kind of integrated together, and with what the IMRS board can do, as well as what can kind of be done with the HRI 200, we opted not to put that in there. As you are correct, you can buy either an FES2, or if you buy the IMRS board, you can actually program or record an announcement that's played X amount of times for a period of time But yeah, nothing controller-wise like that. But we always do take suggestions, and I can always forward it along, and we can see if that it does interest them.
In uniform Papa Charlie from VE1 Zulu X-ray. Well, thanks, John, for your answer on that, and we'll pass it back to you there. N9 UPC from VE1 Zulu X-ray here in Pardersville, Nova Scotia.
Well, thanks, Brad. Thank you for that, and thanks, John, again for a terrific answer. This is, again, really, really informative. I'd like to reach out here and give a shout-out and a big thanks to the Truro Amateur Radio Club in Nova Scotia. They host this room here in their club facility, and it's really impressive. I know as a net controller, I've never had this many repeaters and nodes in, and we're up to 61 right now, and it's rock solid. We've got a direct fiber optic line, John, right into the computer at the node site. So we're about 150 MIPS. Pretty darn quick, and big shout out to the guys in Truro because they've done such a great job in setting it up and maintaining it. So I just wanted to put that out there. All right, let's go for another question, if you don't mind, John. I'm going to call in James, who is VA3JPX, and before I call him in, actually, I may announce that James is recording the net tonight, and he records most of them that are on, and he links them to a YouTube channel, and we always have the link to the net on our Facebook page. So, again, another good reason to go visit our Facebook page, and I'm sure James will have this posted. Well, he's normally pretty quick, but I'm not going to say he's going to have it there tomorrow, but it'll be there in a day or so, or a day or two. I know he's quick. So thanks for doing that, James. It's very much appreciated. And please go ahead with your two questions. Over.
All righty. Good question. So the first thing I guess I would go ahead and say on it is that it really comes down to people need to adjust their audios and mic levels. One of the biggest things I hear a lot of complaints on, people come up to me and say is that, man, this radio sounds horrible, and even at shows. I'm sorry about that. Hopefully I'm back in there now. Once again, they say the audio is horrible, the audio is horrible and stuff, and it really turns down to mic gain, and that's really kind of where it is at. The other thing that I always go tell people is when you have a lot of fluctuating audio levels, take a look at how the audio is coming into the system. Is it an analog station that's coming into a digital station? Because in the HRI 200 Wires X software, there is a place when you're in analog to adjust your audio, and that's very, very, very critical. I've helped many people that I tell people, if you're in analog, set a DTMF tone, like a number 5 or a number 6 or so, and just go ahead and kind of see, adjust that to that tone and pitch there, and that usually helps out. As for AGL kind of control or AGC on there, probably realistically not, because once again, so many people have different voices and stuff on there, and being that it's really a mix of analog and fusion or digital, it does make it difficult to kind of incorporate that kind of feature. My apologies about that. That's a very good question. And the answer is that no, all warranty work must be done through our facility in California, which services the North America market, which technically is Canada, the United States, Guam, kind of the provinces of Guam, the Virgin Islands, and part of Mexico on there. We did have different service centers before. We did allow dealers to do servicing. We stopped that program about 5, maybe 7 years ago now, if memory serves. And the reason being is that we were finding out that not all dealers, but there were a few dealers that were doing work, warranty work, but were not doing it to the level and quality that we expect as a company. And unfortunately, it became sort of a situation that we said, no, we can't just single out the different dealers, so we ended the program completely. Now, that is for warranty work. If it's out of warranty or you do not wish to have warranty work done, then you can take it to whatever dealer, repair shop, anything that you wish to go ahead and have it done at. in regards to where to get it done, so in the cases if you do purchase it in the United States and have it sent into Canada, as long as you purchase your radio from an official dealer and you actually have the receipt with the dealer's information on there, we will warranty the work. We don't care if you bought it from a dealer in the United States or Canada or whatever. As long as you bought it from an official Yaesu dealer, we will honor the warranty work as long as it meets the warranty requirements. And as a reminder, we do offer 3-year warranty standard now on all of our radios. Rollers and accessories are not covered under 3 years, but if you purchase any radio from us, you will get a 3-year warranty, and that includes our repeaters, including our refurbished repeater. Does that answer the question for you?
All right, thanks very much, and thank you, John. Again, fantastic answer, and it's really neat to see that the answer really boils down to quality control. And as an amateur radio operator and as a big Yaesu fan, I have to say that I really appreciate you guys doing that. That's good business. Thank you for that. We're not used to having this many U.S. stations, so I'm going to break down the U.S. here, and this is going to be a learning experience for me. I'm going to call it down into quadrants. So I'm going to say, and I'm going to leave it up to you guys to figure out where you fall into here, but I'm going to break it down into the northeast, the southeast, the northwest, and the southwest. So I'll start off because of time zones. I know that everybody's staying up late for this net, and I appreciate that. Let's go to the northeast U.S. Anyone wishing to check in, please call in now.
K1 NRA with a question.
N8ASH, Dublin, Ohio, no traffic.
NODV, Bruce in Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Okay, well, that was a short list. I've got Kilo 1, November Radio Alpha, November 8, Kilo 1, November Radio Alpha, you had a question, so I'm going to put you on the list there. Got you in there, sir. Can I get your name?
Sure, K1 NRA. The name is Paul, Northeastern Pennsylvania.
Thanks, Paul. We'll put you down on the list here. And let me see here. November 8, Alpha Sierra Hotel, good evening. And I had Bruce at the end, November 8. Sorry, Bruce, but your call cut off on me here at the end. The November 8 station, Bruce in Michigan, are you still there? Okay, well, we got a partial call on Bruce. Thanks for being with us, sir. I'm going to call in Victor Echo 9, Charlie Alpha Sierra. Jason's been monitoring the digital side of things. And Jason, could you give us a report on what's going on the digital screen there in the Wires X software?
VE3BF United States. Dennis, we have a few stations that are wishing to check in. Victor Echo 6, November Romeo. Victor Alpha 6, Delta Whiskey Foxtrot. Victor Echo 3, Yankee Delta November. And if time permits, we have a Whiskey 8, Delta Michael Indy is wishing to have a question. Back to you, Net Control. Victor Echo 9, Charlie Alpha Sierra.
Okay, sorry, what was Whiskey 8, Delta Mike India, was it?
Whiskey 8, Delta Michael Indy.
Okay, and he has a question. All right, thank you very much for that, Jason. Appreciate that. Thanks for monitoring that for me. And let me see here. We'll take a couple more because there wasn't that many. Let's see the southeastern U.S. Come now, please.
Well, I'm kind of in the middle. This is November 0, Kilo, Charlie Kilo, Midwest. Name is Chuck.
All right, very good evening, Chuck. Thanks for joining us this evening. And make sure I got it right here. November 0, Kilo, Charlie Kilo. Is that correct?
Roger, that'd be correct.
All right, sir. Thanks very much for joining us. Let me see here. John, are you ready for another question?
Sure, go right ahead.
Okay, thanks very much. I don't identify as much because I know my call sign is coming up on most people's radios. So, but this is VD3BF for the purists out there, the old guys like me. Hi. Doug, I saw you check in digitally. Victor Echo 3 Yankee Delta Kilo. Are you still there? And would you like to go ahead with your question, please? Okay, well, John, if you don't mind, I'm going to ask Doug's question on his behalf, and he'll be able to listen to your answer on the recording from YouTube there. Doug is wondering if the Yaesu FTM 400X-DR can operate APRS and still use 2-meter voice, analog, or C4FM at the same time. So can you do both at the same time is the question. John, go ahead.
Yes, and that is the answer. Yes, the FTM 400XDR was actually designed and actually has 2 RF circuitries in there. It has an A band and a B band. The A band is the top side. The B band is the bottom side. There is only one C4FM and vocoder in there, and that is on the A band. But APRS can run simultaneously. Sorry about that. The internet got me once more. The APRS can run on the B band while simultaneously talking on the A band. In addition, if people ever have this question also too, is once again, can you run Fusion on the B band? No, you cannot. Can you run APRS on the A band? Yes and no. There are some data settings where you can select which band the data pin jack on the back, it's that 10-pin mini DIN, can go across. So if you have an external data, yes, you can use it on the A or the B band, but APRS is primarily made to run on the B band. Back to the control at 9 UPC.
All right, thanks very much, John. And the next question, well, I get to ask another one, but this time it's from me. So VE3BF asks, and it's a true story, and you heard it a little bit earlier on in the net. I have an FTM 100DR here, which hosts my Note, and I love the radio. It's a great radio. But you know, my only gripe is it's full of great features that I would love to be able to use, but it's dedicated to my Note, and I have a lot of users here. Are there any plans in the near future for Yaesu to introduce a basic radio, similar to maybe the radio that you've announced, like the 7250, or even as simple as a monoband radio like the 3200 or the 3207, that has a data jack for the HRI 200, but is not loaded with all the other features, which really you cannot use. And if the answer is no, I'd like to say, I would really like to suggest that that's something that Yaesu might want to look at, and I know that there's an awful lot of people out there that share that opinion. So wondering what your thoughts on that, John. Thank you very much. N9UPC VE3BF.
We get asked that obviously question a lot, and say, hey, can you do that? And once again, it kind of comes back down to how WiresX is actually being used. And I tell this to people, and people just are, scoff at me in some cases. But we use WiresX very differently here in the United States than it's actually used over in Japan, where kind of the concept kind of came out of it. To give a quick example of it, look at when WiresX first came out. It was actually not compatible with the DR1X because it was never intended to work with the DR1X. The reason I bring that up is the recent radios that were released, the FTM 3200, the 3207, and the soon-to-be-released 7250, were designed with the concept of an entry-level radio only. People who didn't need the APRS, who didn't need the bells and whistles and everything like that. In order to go ahead and keep, obviously, costs down, but then not have as much feature-rich that people just didn't want or really feel the need, they just wanted a basic Fusion radio, that data jack was eliminated. And I know people say it's different terms for saying what I'm about to say, but it really, that data jack is dependent on some of the features and stuff that are in the 100 and the 400 that are not put in the 3200, 3207, and the soon-to-be-released 7250. But once again, that's not to say that something will not come out in the future. It's just it's not really something we wanted to go ahead and do because once again that would kick up the price, and it kind of comes down to people just wanting Fusion versus running a node.
Okay, well, you know what? I've never looked at it that way, and again, a very good answer. Thanks, John. And I totally get it. You need the GPS module. You need some of the features that are there in order to be compliant with the rest of the network, and thank you for that. John, did you have anything, before I take another couple of check-ins and another couple of questions, did you have anything that you would like to talk about, any announcements, or I guess maybe one of the things on a lot of people's mind, including my own, is the 7250. Do we have a time frame? Do we have an idea of where it's going to be priced? Or did you have any other tidbits of information on all these new products that are being introduced that are very intriguing to an awful lot of a lot of people are here for that. So I'm wondering if you have some insight for us. Over.
Sure. So once again, thank you for allowing me on the net here. You guys talked about your Facebook page. We do want to bring up that Yaesu does have 3 different Facebook pages that we do. I don't want to say own, but we created them and we manage them ourselves. That's the Yaesu USA official, and even though it's USA, anybody from Canada, worldwide, we have over 3,000 people who have subscribed. Sorry about that. My finger slipped out the PTT that time. And it is open to anybody to look at, come in there, talk about it. We call it the Yaesu USA because we deal with things in the North America market. There are some other Facebook pages out there that are listed as Yaesu, but they are geared for more so, like, say, the European market. So if it says Yaesu USA official, that's ours. We have the Yaesu System Fusion official page on there. And we also have the DR2X, DR1XFR official page. And the reason we put official on them is because these are ones that are actually ran and operated by us at Yaesu. Unfortunately, there are other Facebook pages out there, and some of them are designed and made to look like they are official Yaesu ones, and they're not. And we've had customers call in and saying, well, you guys told me on your Facebook page, and that's not true there. So let me reset. In addition to that, we do have a lot of interesting stuff coming up here in 2018. Some stuff I can talk about right now, which would be our new dual band basic mobile, or entry level, I should say, mobile coming out. It is along the lines of the 3200 and 3207. It will have Wires X control, meaning you can go ahead and control a Wires X node in digital operation, just like the 3200 upgrade and the 3207. In addition, it's just going to be a busy year. We have some analog handhelds coming out that are kind of helping out the MCOM users, subcompact, 5 watts of power. And I guess our biggest thing is that we're going to be doing our presentation at Hamvention. It will be Friday night. It will be the Fusion Forum. We will be the last forum of that evening. But that way people said, hey, or when are you going to do it? I'd like to come and talk. And we're going to talk about a lot of interesting stuff. We're going to get everybody up to DGID, what exactly that is, DPID, what is IMRS, how do these things work, what is special about quote-unquote Fusion 2, so we're going to get people up to speed on that. And in addition, let me reset, and in addition to all that, I kind of did a poll on our Facebook page, and we got some good results. Not only are we going to keep, trying to interact with people, answer questions, field questions, that kind of thing like that on our Facebook page, we are going to be bringing back our online Fusion forums. So this will mean we're going to look at setting up some webinars that people can come on into. We're going to discuss a few things, kind of give people some education on certain things and stuff like that. So we're going to keep looking forward to that. We'll be making some announcements on there too. And then, once again, just kind of doing more nets here when we can hop in and kind of just interact with the customers. We really like to do it, and this is part of the job that I like. I do a lot of traveling, but it's nice to get out there and see customers, talk to them, find out how Fusion is being used. So thank you to the customers. You guys do drive us in what we do and make for radios. Granted, we may not have all the features that you want at one time or another, but we do listen to you, and if it is possible and it can improve it, we will go ahead and include it in there. So I will turn it back over to you at 9UPC.
Well, thank you very much, John. Again, very much appreciated, and we appreciate you being here with us. And it shows that the company cares about its end users, that's for sure. Let's go to the northwestern United States. You guys know where you are. If you weren't in the northeast, you've got to be in the northwest. So we'll look for check-ins out in the northwest U.S. Please come now.
Kilo Bravo 7, Sierra Quebec Sierra, Lance, Twin Falls, Idaho, no traffic.
Very good evening, Lance, and KB7 SQS. Welcome to the room, sir, and appreciate you being here. I did get a digital note that I missed someone in the Northwest, I believe, that had a question for John. Did you want to get on the list? Please call now. Oh, I think I may have doubled with someone there. Go ahead. Okay, let's look for check-ins in the southwestern quadrant of the U.S. Anyone wishing to check in, call now.
VE9 CAS, when you get time.
Yeah, go ahead, Jason.
We'd like to recognize two stations here, Dennis. VE1 RCC and Whiskey November 8 Zulu. And if we get time, I'd like to ask a question to John.
All right, very good. Well, why don't we pop you up there right now, Jason? Go ahead, since you've been helping me here with the net. We'll pop you in, give you a little bit of priority. Go ahead with your question, please.
N9UPC. Hello, John. This is a question from another ham. When it comes to software releases, firmware, and etc., just wondering if instead of like reading it on Facebook, is there a possible way that you could do like an email list and a mass email out and tell everybody by email so we don't find out like 4 or 5 days down? That's my question, John.
You know, that's a very good question, and the simplest answer is this is going to be kind of part of our trying to get the word out a little bit better. In the past, we have not had success with the email chain, largely due to the fact that a lot of emails bounce, believe it or not. We've tried doing some emails in the past, and at one time we tried to send out 138 emails on an update for something, and it just bounced. We had, I want to say, close to like 50 something emails come back out of that 138. So realistically, we would probably just do general announcements. We'll probably continue to do it on Facebook. And then we're going to try to start to spool up our website a little bit better, the systemfusion.yaesu.com, to get more information out there that way.
Okay, thanks, John. And got one last question. I know this. I've been helping a lot of people with the HRI 200. When you first sign up to, I believe, the Japan site, and then if you go to the America site, there's two different versions of the software. I'm just wondering is it different because of the Japan, or are you aware of that?
Yes, two versions of the software do exist. There is version 1.22 and version 1.3. Hang on. Sorry, I had a cough there real quick. Version 1.22 should be used as your WiresX software if you are not using BGID, meaning if you have chosen not to upgrade your radios and you're using a DR1X or XFR. Actually, it would just be the DR1X. If you're using DSQ, please continue to use 1.22. If you are using BGID and you've upgraded your radios, you're using a DR1XFR, or you're using a DR2X, and you need the DGID functionality, use version 1.3.
Okay, thank you very much, John. Back to net control. Thanks again. Back to you, Dennis. This is Victor Echo 9, Charlie Alpha Sierra.
All right, thanks very much, Jason, and thanks for your help tonight here, riding along as co-controller. Tim, we have a few people that are giving us some impromptu questions, so I'm going to open the mic up to a couple here and see if we can get them through. We have Tim in Ottawa, VE3TXP. Tim, you had a question, please, if you're still there.
Yes, I'm still here. I was just wondering if I actually have two questions, but I'll ask the first one. If the FD100 DR, can be, sorry, my correction. If the FD 99-100, your latest one, if the can be upgraded to the 99-1A in Canada, that was my first question. Over.
Generally, if you mean to go from a 991 to a 991A, yes, it can be upgraded. There is an upgrade fee for it. Where it needs to be done, once again, that will have to be sent back to our Cypress, California office. The 991A, a lot of people said, well, it's just a firmware upgrade or something. No, it's actually component additions and changes and everything like that to it, so it would have to go back to Cypress. Go ahead with your second question then.
And my second question is, with the new model with the Yaesu FTM 400, is there going to be compatibility with the other different versions of FM, C4FM, or is it D-Star in your radios, or is that proprietary?
Let me just clarify the question. Are you asking, will our radios ever be compatible with, let's say, D-Star, DMR, P25, those kind of digital modes?
Yes, that is correct.
No, they will not. Fusion was designed with a couple principles in mind. First of all, it had to be simple, and it had to be easy, and it had to be quick. Simple. As everybody that has a Fusion radio knows, what is the first thing you do when you turn on your Fusion radio? You enter your call sign. What's the next thing you want to do if you would transmit digital? Either push the mode button or push the DX button, depending on what make and model of radio you have. It is high voice quality. That is why we have chosen to use C4FM, and that's why we actually can operate in 6.25 or 12.5 kilohertz band space. Since we also use an AMBE vocoder, a lot of people think it is cross-band compatible. Well, DMR is TDMA, where we use FDMA as the digital voice type technology, and D-Star uses older technology of GMSK, and they actually do use FDMA, but that vocoder is 100% incompatible. Being that our focus is on the high quality of voice, not a lot of people have the digital technology that can do that. And will there ever be a multi-mode radio? Who knows? But as it sits right now, I know a lot of people in the United States, worldwide, have made bridges of compatibility through certain Fusion wires X rooms, Fusion reflectors, those kind of things like that. So we don't have any intent to make anything compatible with the others. Now, in regards to if someone approaches us and says, well, we want to put Fusion into one of our radios, like Kenwood did with D-Star, by all means, we're more than happy to say, yes, please feel free to put Fusion into your radios. But for us making or putting any other technologies in ours, no. Just much like you wouldn't see ICOM being put Fusion in there.
Okay, thank you very much for your answers. Much appreciated. VE3, Tango X-Ray Bravo.
All right, thanks, Tim. We'll take two more questions, and then we'll see if we got some more check-ins there. I've got Victor Echo 3, Zulu Uniform, David in Orleans, eastern part of Ottawa. Are you still with us, David? And did you want to go ahead with your question now, please?
This is VE3ZZU, David in Orleans. Yes, my question is regarding the Yaesu handheld, the FT2DR, and the FT1 for that matter. Are there any plans to produce a plug-in Bluetooth module that's rechargeable so that the headset can be separated from the base unit? Back to you, VE3ZZU.
All right, N9UPC here. We have looked at Bluetooth before. We do have Bluetooth board options for the FTM100 and the FTM400. We cannot add anything to the two right now because of the way it's currently designed. The FT1 has been discontinued. I know it has been requested by many customers, and we have forwarded it up as a suggestion. Whether that does become incorporated in the future or not, I'm not 100% sure, though.
Okay, this is David, VE3ZZU in Orleans. Copy that, John. What about a rechargeable Bluetooth module to plug into the FT2DR where the headphone or headset plugs into, and that could be rechargeable, and then you can use Bluetooth headphones, or in my case, I have Bluetooth hearing aids, and Bluetooth works very well. Back to you, VE3ZZU.
That I'm not 100% sure on. We can always, once again, send it up as a suggestion. We did have actually a Bluetooth headset for a while out there that could be purchased for us, but we did discontinue it. And to be honest with you, one of the reasons we discontinued it was that it was not a lot of people actually bought it, and they didn't really feel that there was a strong enough application for it out there. I do know, and this is kind of the engineering spirit of amateur radio, I do know that there are some Bluetooth adapters like you are talking about that are out there, and I believe that they either can be or you can make a connection cable to plug into our single port adapter for a speaker mic on the FTM, or excuse me, on the FT2 here.
Okay, this is VE3ZZU, David in Orleans again. Copy that, John. That would be very nice. The former Yaesu VX8R, I had the earphone for that, and it worked quite well, except that the hook that went around the ear was too big, and it couldn't be worn with somebody like me who wears glasses. And that'll be my final. Back to you, VE3ZZU.
Very good. Right now, our headsets for the FT2 as well as works for the FT1 is I call it the old Nokia style type earpiece, where it's just a little earbud fits into your ear. The microphone contact hangs down by your kind of chin, neck area there, and it plugs in with that. I use mine a lot when I'm actually at the airport traveling, because I do like to listen to the airband with my radio. So.
Okay, we seem to have lost John there, and we'll just wait for... Oh, there he is. He just popped back into the room. Okay, thanks for that, John. Glad to know I'm not the only guy who listens to the airband in an airport. I figured there was a few of us out there, but good to know. If you don't mind, we'll take one last question before... I don't mean the last question. I've got three more, but we'll take one more, and then I'll ask for a few more check-ins. If that's okay with you, John, we'll call in Alpha Bravo 8 Delta Tango. Ron, if you're still there, did you want to go ahead with your question, sir? Okay, Ron is gone. Let's see if we can get a couple more check-ins here. Let's see if we've got anybody outside of Canada or the U.S. Anybody outside of Canada, U.S. would like to check in, please call now.
9 Zulu 4 Juliet Charlie.
All right, 9 Zulu 4 Juliet Charlie. Very good evening. And where are you calling in from, sir?
Good night, Net Control, Victor Echo 3 Bravo Foxtrot. Good night to you and all our operators on frequency tonight. The name is Junior, Juliet Uniform, November, India, Oscar, Romeo. I'm transmitting from Trinidad and Tobago in the West Indies. Actually, I am on the island of Trinidad, a town called Arima. That's on the northern side, the northeastern side of the island. And currently it is 10:19 p.m. It's 10:19 p.m. Over.
All right, very good, Junior. Thanks for joining us this evening. You are our first station tonight outside of Canada and the U.S. So welcome aboard, sir, and thanks for being with us. Let me see here, John. Are we okay for another couple? I think I've got four more questions. Is that okay?
AB8DT recheck.
All right, AB8DT, just hang on just one more second. John, are you ready for a couple more questions? Over?
Yes, go right ahead.
All right, thanks very much. Just want to make sure you had a glass of water there. I know I've been doing a lot of drinking tonight, and it is water. Go ahead, Alpha Bravo 8 Delta Tango. Ron, go ahead with your question, please.
Thanks, Dennis, and sorry for not answering sooner. I grabbed the wrong microphone, thought I was talking on the right one, and it wasn't transmitting. So that's hazards of having too many mics hanging around. And good evening to everyone on the net, and good evening, John. Thanks for taking the time out of your schedule and talking with us this evening. And I know Yaesu's been aggressively attacking the entry-level market with all these nice new radios, the FT70, FTM 3200, 3207, and then the new 7250 coming out. Just curious, I know you've kind of dangled a little Easter egg for the 2018 things that might be coming up, and that some things you can't say, and so there's a little bit of a hint there. So just hopefully, my question would be, is there going to be maybe a higher end or a more improved version of the dual vander, the FTM 400? Being a something that will have a full TNC, so you can operate APRS functionality with third-party software, and then maybe a dual vocoder, so you can listen and operate on both A and B on C4FM. So I know those are probably all those questions that you can't answer, but at least some good suggestions maybe. Back to you, John. EB8DT.
Like I said, we got stuff planned for the year. We are always looking at making or improving radios, or what's going to be the next line. We have no intent right now to discontinue the 400 or the 100, as there was rumors started. But when we look at what's the next generation of radio coming out, we factor in a lot of things right now. So we are in the planning stages of some things. And that's about all I can say. I don't know what is exactly going. Sorry about that. I got bit by the internet bug again. I don't know exactly how soon or how when anything is going to be released. I'm sometimes privy to that information, other times I'm not. The biggest one, like I said, right now is the 7250, which should be released in the next couple of months here as we are coming into the summer season here. But we're always planning, and we're always looking at what can make Fusion better and how we can improve it.
All right, thanks, John. And you answered one of the lingering questions was when the 7250 was going to be showing up in stores, and thanks for letting that little tidbit of information out. Let me see here. Who's next on my list? VE1 Alpha Oscar. If you're still there, did you want to go ahead with your question, please?
November 8 Alpha Echo, trying to check in.
Sorry, the station trying to check in. November 8, what was it? Alpha, go ahead.
Yeah, November 8 Alpha Echo, Carl in Clinton Township, Michigan.
Thanks very much, Carl. We've got you on the list, and I will be making another call out for more check-ins shortly, but thank you for that. We've got you there. VE1AO, are you still there or still with us?
Dennis, that's the Trail Club call. Must be confused with another call sign.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I thought we had a question from another VE1. Maybe that's the one that you asked. If there is, maybe you can catch that on the next round. The next one that I had on the list here was Kilo 1 November Radio Alpha. Are you still with us? And did you want to go ahead with your question, please?
Yeah, VE3BF. Good evening, K1 NRA. And I'd like to thank you for hosting the net tonight. Caught your advertisement over on our AmericaLink page where we hang out, or rather I hang out a little bit. And John, I had a question for you. We have a net that we operate on Saturday nights that gets quite a bit of traffic, and I'm wondering if you could tell me, this is just a sort of an infrastructure question, about what the maximum number of nodes on the WiresX side that the server is capable of handling in a room before it starts to bog down. We get upwards of about 140 to 150 nodes connected during our net, and I'm just wondering if that is starting to reach the maximum that it is designed to handle. And that's my question, and once again, thanks for allowing me to check in, and enjoyed participating in the net. This is K1 NRA.
All right, K1 NRA and INUPC here. Yeah, I remember, I think it was October, wasn't it, that I was on your net there that Saturday night, and it was a 3-hour something net, and yeah, we had some connection issues on many levels. It actually is not server dependent. It's the way WiresX works here is basically the server does guidance and direction, but your node becomes the center stage. And let me pause here real quick. What I mean by your node becomes the center stage is, for an example right now, is the room that is hosting this net. All of our, and on the screen here, if you're on Wires X right now, all of the nodes that are popping up are connecting to that one room, which is that bandwidth or gateway of internet traffic into that HRI 200. So in other words, the limitations are going to be what you have for an internet pipe. Obviously, smaller bandwidth, slower upload and download, more issues and more problems on there. The other thing that sometimes can affect it is if you have multiple links on links. I know some people are crossing over DMR, some people are integrating hotspots, SCS reflectors, YSF reflectors. Those all add to the latency and the bandwidth that it actually takes. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, well, that makes sense. And so I guess, in other words, that the bottleneck winds up becoming whoever's hosting the room, because we do cross over 3 FCS connectors on there, and of course the latency issues exist, but we kind of handle that by having 2 NCOs when we do the net. But that'll be interesting to pass that along, because I know the room is hosted down in Texas, and when it does get real heavy, we do wind up having some connection issues, and I was just curious. That clears it up, though. I thought maybe that had been a server issue, but it looks like it just might be a bandwidth issue. So, yeah, I appreciate that. That helps out a lot. I'll pass that along to the guys. Thanks.
Misconception. A lot of people think all the traffic runs through Japan and everything, and it really doesn't. And that's why you have to have your UDP ports open on your Wires X devices. 46100 through 46122. Each of those ports represent a certain connection, inbound or outbound. One is obviously contacting the server, the other is downloading the information, and the other are the audio connections going in and out of each HRI 200 and Wires X software. And to go ahead and show how the system is kind of designed to kind of catch its breath is if a bunch of people double or you don't leave enough room in between transmissions, when you let go, you might hear someone just pop out of thin air that answered maybe a minute ago because the system buffers it. So I hope that answers your question, and maybe I'll have to hop on your net sometime on a Saturday night. Back to net control at 9UPC.
Well, thanks very much again, John. Another kind of mini mystery resolved or solved or answered. I'm enlightened. The last question I have this evening for you, or the last question that was asked the last person who asked me to be asking a question, I'll be all right. It was W8DMI. Are you still with us, sir? And can I get your name? And please go ahead with your question.
Yeah, Dennis, this is W8DMI Dan. It's Delta Alpha November. Yeah, we're in northeastern Michigan. Good evening to everybody on the net. You there, John? Just a simple question, I guess, basically. I can't find I wish there was a service schematic for the HRI 200 available so I could get some more input on the inside of it. But anyways, I'm talking on a desk mic that I interface directly into the HRI 200, so I'm not using a radio. And I set the transceiver setting for analog. Didn't have to do any other changes except for a write that you got to mute the audio. But I think what I'd like to see, if it was possible, is they could make some type of a graphic equalizer plugin or something for the Wires X software, so you could contour the audio more and change it up based on your voice. So that's just a question I had, and anyways, I don't know if it's possible or not, but I'd like to see something like that. So back to you, and thanks for taking time to do this for us tonight. W8DMI, back to you.
All right, and yeah, what you kind of talk about is actually a hidden feature of the HRI 200. The HRI 200 can be interfaced literally into any radio. If you go into your Wires X software, if you go into settings, you'll actually see a spot there where you can actually change the active high or active low on the pins. those kind of things like that. So an HRI 200 does not just need to be interfaced into a Yaesu radio. And as you have pointed out here, you can actually go ahead and interface a microphone into it. We don't make an actual microphone for it. It was designed to be used to a radio, be it analog or digital. As for the graphic equalizer, in the software, there is the ability to set your analog audio. I'm trying to think of it off the top of my head where it's at, and I'm drawing a blank. I believe it's under Files and Settings, and one of the numerous settings there. But, and that's where earlier I said, I don't know if you heard it, when I tell people if you're setting up a Wires X node and it's going to be analog, take your keypad, push the number 5, push the DTMF number 6, and adjust that audio. So connect up with someone who is in a digital room or a digital node and say, hey, I'm going to send you a tone, and I'm going to make sure that the tone isn't overmodulated or it's undermodulated. And that's one of the good ways to go ahead and set that. And that really clears up a lot of the audio issues that people have. Go ahead.
Okay, roger that. Well, I'm looking under the sound settings under there, and I see calibrate for, it says CW and voice, but just has speed and volume. But I was thinking more like a 10-band graphic equalizer type thing. But anyways, okay. Well, I appreciate that, and you taking the time, and hopefully maybe that'll be somebody that comes up with a plugin or something that can be added on. Because I noticed under Tools they have a plugin section there, so appreciate the info and you taking the time. W8DMI. Back to you there, John, and I'll be listening.
All right. Well, thank you very much to everyone who asked the questions. And, John, I'm not sure if you need to run. We're going to ask for more check-ins. But before people start leaving, if they are, I'm going to say thank you very much on behalf of all the listeners, those that are checking in or those who are just listening tonight. We'll call them shortwave listeners just because I don't really have another term. I'll say thank you very much for taking time out of your busy schedule and joining us, and thanks very much for all the feedback that I got from you when we were trying to set this up. It made things very, very positive and easy for me to facilitate. So I appreciate very much what's going on, and we're looking forward with a lot of anticipation on the new toys coming from Yaesu, and thanks for the wonderful job you guys are doing. The 3-year warranty program extension, all the stuff that you guys have been doing. I mean, it really shows that you care about your customers, and we, the users, we appreciate that. And I think you probably see a market share because of that. So, again, on behalf of everyone here, thank you very much, and I hope you'll stick around for a little bit more. We're already up to 54 check-ins, and we've had as many as 67 nodes and repeaters logged in, so I'm sure we'll get a few more check-ins. So again, in case someone needs to leave, I just want to make sure that everybody heard a big thanks to John. Back over to you, John. And November 9 UPC, did we lose you, John?
VE3BF, some digital stuff when you get time.
Okay, Jason, I doubled with you there a little bit, but yeah, go ahead with your digital stuff. And John's having some internet issues there, so he's going to pop back in, I'm sure, very shortly. So go ahead with your digital stuff, Jason.
Okay, one gentleman, VE3RIX, I believe it's VE3IGN, is requesting to ask a question to John. And we have another question for John. We noticed that the repeater is saying Hayward-Golf Whiskey. Some of the people on the digital commentary are wondering, what does the GW stand for? Back to you there, Dennis.
Okay, well, why don't we take those two questions then, John, if you're okay with that. What's the GW in your repeater or your identifier stand for? Over.
So that's kind of a good question. So I am actually up at my dad's place right now. That's where I'm broadcasting from here. It's his call is N9VAO, and he's in northern Wisconsin, just a couple hours north of where I live, actually in Wisconsin. I'm not a California person. I am truly I'm sorry about that. I'm hoping back in here. But anyways, I'm truly a Ninelander, as I was saying, for people in the United States. Our system here we have in Wisconsin, we call it the Wisconsin Link or Wisconsin Fusion. We kind of came together and are using the principles of fusion, which is crossing analog over to digital. So the reason it says Hayward is it's actually in Hayward, Wisconsin, and it's the gateway to the repeaters in and around the Hayward area. The way we set up our WiresX network are all with integrated into All-Star with Fusion, and yes, we do have a few users that use DMR and hotspots. We kind of segregated it off so that if a certain incident or situation needs to happen, we can pull one component or one section of our network out of the network. And in essence, we've made a network of networks, per se. In addition, using the new IMRS feature of our repeaters, we can now actually connect on a different digital level and then pull in not only one, but we can actually pull in multiple WiresX rooms now because of the way the repeaters connect between IMRS. So that is why the identifier says Hayward Gateway, and that's what the GW stands for. Let me pause here. Also, back in the day, when WiresX first came out, there was kind of an unspoken way of what we were kind of going ahead and trying to come up with terminology. And many times when you use your radio as a simplex node, we were suggesting people use the term or the -ND. So an example would be N9UPC-ND. That means it's a standalone node. It doesn't go to repeater or anything like that. Then, if you were to go and have your WiresX connected directly to a repeater, meaning physically connected to the site, then we were suggesting you put in -RPT or -RP, basically based on how large your call sign is. And then if you have a setup where you are feeding a repeater remotely from a site, which a lot of people do, then we suggested you put the term GW, which stood for gateway. That way, when you connected or someone saw your call sign, you would know whether you're directly into a repeater, you're in a node, or you're feeding a repeater over the air. I hope that makes sense for everybody.
Yeah, very good. Well, I guess we just have not seen that GW here in Canada, John, and it makes perfect sense. Actually, in my case here, I'm feeding VE3 RPT, or a TWO as a repeater, so I've changed my identifier to VE3 TWO-RPT. But very interesting stuff for sure. We had a last-minute question from VE3 IGN. If you don't mind, we'll make this the last question for this evening, because I know that it is getting late, especially out on the East Coast in Newfoundland and the Atlantic provinces. So, Don, go ahead with your question, please. VE3 IGN. This is VE3BF with the net.
Yeah, good evening, John, and all on that, and thank you for being here and guest speaker and all. My question is, reference the DR2X repeater with the built-in LAN card IMRS. Now, I know the documentation, they've come up with a few revisions. I think the latest one is, 1709. It's on the back of the manual, bottom right-hand corner. Now, going through the IMRS setup with your TGID and your different, I would say, talk groups or different networks, subnets of the actual repeaters you're connecting to, is Yaesu, are they going to publish like a how-to setup documentation, like to set up an actual repeater by just reading it, like a dumbed-down version or whatever? Because I find a lot of people are a little confused on how all that works, and if they were to get a manual, like a setup manual, is to go through, step 1, step 2, step 3. I know the original manual does say how to do it. They pretty well explain how it works, but if they were going to come down to make it more easier for repeater owners out there. Myself, I've been studying it for a while and talking to other hams out there. I kind of figured out how it all works, but I heard that you guys were going to come out with another, like, IMRS setup manual. Is there any chance behind that over?
It's funny, actually, that you say that, because Microsoft Word has been furiously working on and saving documentation that we are actually working on. One of the things that are going to be coming here soon is basically 2 documents dealing with IMRS and how it works, and it's planning your IMRS system and setting up your IMRS. I apologize about that. Some internet issues again. Like I said, planning your IMRS system and setting up your IMRS system. And we will be also offering some suggestions on what DGIDs to use. You are correct. And this is kind of one of the nice things about Fusion, but one of the biggest complaints we have is that, man, Fusion is so open, it's so easy to set up, and I could do what I want with it. I could link a repeater, all these different things like that. But then the complaint is that there's no some people feel structure or rigidity to the whole aspect of setting things up. So we are publishing and authorizing, we're authoring some documents right now. We will publish them out onto the internet so people can understand how to plan and set up. It is not going to be a technical document as in the nitty-gritties and the schematic diagrams and everything, but for users of the systems to get together to say, hey, we want to connect like this, we want to connect like this, let's take a look at these things like that.
Okay, John, thank you very much for the return and the information. I don't know if you dropped out. Sorry if you're coming back to me now, but I got it. And I'd like to also recognize Chris K92 for feeding a couple of FCFC broadcasts out there to all who is listening through it. I've been monitoring a few to the reflectors here, and it's been sounding loud and clear and no issues, no dropouts. Anyways, thanks a lot, John. Thanks a lot, Chris. And we'll turn it back to Net Control, the 3 Bravo Fox, and the Canada-wide CQ Canada Net. This is VE3 ICN Ottawa, 73.
All right, very good. Don, thanks for that. Thanks for your question. And John, were you there when I gave you the official thanks? And thank you for being there. I don't know if you dropped out at that point, but I want to make sure that you know that we appreciate your time and how much it shows that Yaesu cares about its customers. The fact that you're being here and some of the things that you've announced tonight or spoken about really show that Yaesu cares about its customers. And well, you've got a whole bunch of fans here because 99% of the people in the room right now are your customers. So we appreciate you being there for us. Over.
No, I was actually there earlier when it did before it dropped out here. So I was there. But yes, we do appreciate it, and I will be traveling up to Canada a few times, and we do want to attend some of the events up there in Canada because you are part of our North America market, and plus it gives me a chance to go up to Canada. So I guess I'll look at the time here, and if there's one more question, I guess we'll say let's do that, and then if not, I will turn it back over to you and call it a night. So if we have one more, let's do that then.
Okay, very good. Well, we may get a whole bunch of collisions here, but we'll take one more question. And thank you for that, John. So anyone having a question, please call in.
Victor Echo 7, Whiskey Bravo Mike.
Victor Echo 7, Whiskey Bravo Mike. Good evening, and go ahead with your question.
Yeah, thanks, Dennis. And John, a pleasure to meet you. N9UPC, this is VE7WBM. Name here is Brad. Our local radio club has just passed motions to get 2 DR2Xs purchased and set up. Now, my question is, with the earlier comment of the WiresX nodes, the HRI200, and the 2 different software versions, not knowing how many people have upgraded the firmware on their radios for the DigID and whatnot, should we still run the original 1.2 software or 1.0 software, or should we upgrade the WiresX software to the newer version? And what would be the best way to go about that to make sure everything is still compatible?
That's a very good question, and it comes down to good system planning. So first of all, are you running a DSQ code on your repeaters at this time?
Negative. We have no DSQ codes.
Then you have no issues. Just set your repeater to DGID 00. DGID 00 is like carrier squelch for the digital side of things. And you can still use version 1.22. If you were using a DGID on the repeater, then I would go ahead and suggest to go ahead and upgrade to version 1.3. Now, with that being said, let me reset here. With DGID and DSQ, DGID codes 01 through 99 and DSQ codes 01 through 99 are 100% compatible with one another. Meaning if I have a DGID radio and I set it to 50, and you have a radio with DSQ and you set it to 50, we will talk and hear one another. The advantage with DGID, though, is that you can actually have it split, meaning you can transmit a DGID but receive in 00 or open squelch mode, or you can actually do a split transmit and receive. And the reason that feature is set up is there's a lot of features in the DR2 that we're going to cover in our documentation and scenarios that we come up with that will blow people's minds away. When I've done beta testing with it and I'm actually working like stuff quote unquote in the lab with it, it actually even has floored me coming from a former public safety side myself. But you don't have anything to worry about since you're not running any DSQ codes.
Oh, okay, wonderful. Because we do have a offsite link. The WiresX node happens to be in my living room, and we are linked to RF linked to our repeater, mid-level repeater. So once the snow disappears and we're able to get the new DR2Xs, I just wanted to make sure that we didn't have to upgrade the software for WiresX. So thank you. Much appreciated, sir. Thank you for taking all of the time, and Denis has praised you, and thank you for being with us this evening. I will do the same. It has been a pleasure to hear you and receive all the answers and information that you've given us, and once again, it's been a pleasure, sir. N9 UPC, thank you again. This is VE7 WBM.
All right, very good. Thanks, Brad, for that. And that was a great question, actually. And thank you again, John. And I'll be let me reach out here and do a digital handshake to you and say thanks so much for your time. And I will be in touch by email very shortly. There was one other thing that I wanted to ask you, but this is not the place, so I will do that. And thanks so much again for being with us. So I'll let you go for closing comments, and then I will take some more check-ins for those who want to check in before closing down the net. So back over to you, John, N9 UPC V3BF.
All right, once again, thank you so much for having me on the net. Once again, I can't thank you enough. I love doing these nets. I love talking to people directly, answering the questions. It's a lot better than trying to answer them on Facebook or email or anything like that. However, with that said, do not be afraid to email me. My email address is j.kruk@yazoo.com. If I don't get back to you right away, it's nothing important. It usually means I'm dealing with a project or I might be 40,000 feet in the air. With that, I'll turn it back over to Net Control. Thank you, and I'll clear out myself. This has been N9 UPC.
All right, very good. Well, we'll call for more check-ins. Anyone wishing to check in and to have your presence in the log, we do appreciate it. And we'll be mailing out virtual checks to each of the check-ins. So let's see here. Eastern Canada, anyone wishing to check in? When I say Eastern Canada, I'm going Ontario to the Atlantic provinces. Anyone that has not checked in yet, please call now.
VE3NQ, VE3NQ.
Victor Echo 3, Zulu Uniform Oscar. Name here is Ben. We're in Ottawa. Over.
From the Sky Repeater in Toronto.
All right, I doubled there with the last one, but I think I got it. We'll just double check. VE3NQ, Wayne in Smith Falls, thank you very much. VE3ZUO, Ben, good evening, and I think this is your first time on the net, and welcome to the net, sir. Thanks for checking in. And the station in Toronto, was it Victor Echo 3 RBQ, over?
Yeah, Romeo, Quebec, Bravo, and he's Rob.
All right, thanks very much, Rob. Anyone in eastern U.S., east of the Mississippi, anywhere in the U.S., east of the Mississippi, wishing to check in, please come now.
Kilo Golf 8, Zulu Hotel, KGAZH, Chuck, Detroit, Michigan, in and out.
This is Kilo 19 Echo Quebec, Chris, in Ham Lake, Minnesota, doing the internet streaming and the FCS stuff. And also checking in 80MI, Alpha Delta Zero Mike India Pete, who's in Lino Lakes, Minnesota, who's listening on the internet streaming and has dogs and kids and all kinds of things lying on top of him, so he couldn't get to a radio. Back to that.
All right, I think I got everybody except for the last station. Let me see here. Where am I here? Got that one. KG8 Zulu Hotel. Chuck, a very good evening. Chris, nice to meet you, sir. KE9 Quebec. And if you needed a link, we'll get you the link to the YouTube recording of this net for your room. You're more than welcome to it. Kilo Delta Zero Mike India. We got there Pete. That was checked in by Chris. And the last station was an Alpha Zero, and I think it's Golf Tango, but not 100% sure. You broke up there. You want to try it again?
The Delta Zero Tango Golf Rod. And he was on the local repeater here, but just not getting in very well.
Sorry, Chris, we doubled. It was Alpha Zero Tango Golf. Is that right?
Yeah, there's delays in propagating through the network. I'm not sure why. I'm hearing two different arrival times on two different nodes. Alpha Delta Zero Tango Golf. Alpha Delta Zero Tango Golf Rod, and he's here in Minnesota.
All right, very good. Got it that time. Alpha Delta Zero Tango Golf. Thanks very much, Chris, and appreciate everyone being here. And this has been kind of a very cool net, and certainly a first for us. We've never had this many check-ins in our net. So, and we're here every week, folks, and you're more than welcome to come and join us every Wednesday evening. Let me see here. Let's go to Western Canada. Anybody west of Ontario that we didn't get to, wishing to check in, please call now.
Victor Echo 4 Alpha Romeo Tango, Art in Winnipeg.
Good evening, Art. Welcome back to the net. It's been a while since we've heard you. VE4ART, glad you could join us this evening, sir. Thanks for being here. And Western U.S., anywhere in the Western U.S. wishing to check in before we close down the net, please call now.
MD6 Charlie, name's Andy, Walnut, California.
Kilo Foxtrot, 5 Foxtrot, Gene in Colleen, Texas. And also like, if you could, check in November 5, Tango, Lima, Quebec, and he's listened to a good portion of the net via Skype from Afghanistan, so if you could, check him in.
Kilo Golf 5, Whiskey, X-Ray Yankee, near Dallas, Texas. Just wanted to say thanks again to John for being on there and answering the questions. If you're not already a member of those Yaesu official pages, go track him down and follow those pages. He's a wealth of knowledge to be used. Name is Jake here.
All right, very good. I'm just going to drop the mic here because I got to sneeze. All right, didn't want to sneeze on the radio, so good evening to November Delta 6 Charlie, Andy. Thanks for joining us. KF5F Gene, November 5 Tango Lima, Quebec, and listening in Afghanistan through Skype. That's pretty cool stuff. And Kilo Golf 5 Whiskey X-Ray Yankee in Texas. Thank you very much. And yes, that's good information to go check out those Facebook pages. As a matter of fact, I signed up for a couple of them there today. So, anyone else that I missed? Anywhere in before? Actually, let's do outside of North America first. Anyone outside of North America wishing to check in, please call now. Or outside of Canada and U.S., I should say. All right, last call. Any stations anywhere before I shut it down?
N0QXM. Nick from West Central Minnesota. No comments. Good evening.
Kilo Alpha 7 Echo India, Rocky in Utah. Very interesting net. Thank you.
All right, November 0 QXM. Good evening, Nick. And Kilo Alpha 7 Echo India. Do I have that call correctly from Utah? The station from Utah, was it Kilo Alpha 7 Echo India?
Yes, sir. That is correct. You've got it correct. KA7EII.
All right, thanks very much. Just wanted to make sure here. And so that's 70 check-ins, including myself, actually 71, including John. So I wish to thank everyone for being with us. And I'm glad that everybody enjoyed it. The comments across the screen here have been very positive, and it's been our pleasure to put it together for you guys. And it's all about hams helping hams. So we'll say 73, and please feel free to join us any Wednesday evening on the Cross Canada Net. This is V3BF signing clear, returning the CQ Canada room back to normal amateur use. V3BF 73 all.